Guys, or a good middle of the night, depending on where you are. I don't expect many people to be like on the actual live version of this. This is the best time for me to do this. The timing is crazy, but however you're watching, whether it's replay or live, I hope you are well, or as well as you possibly can be, given the circumstances of that last full moon. I feel like thank you for joining. Good morning. I'm still, I think, recovering from the full moon in Capricorn. It was genuinely very, it was so overwhelming, but it also was a huge game changer for me. And I hope it was a game changer for you guys as well. It definitely was an invitation for all of us to sort of align with our fullest potentials. Hi. So let me know how you were feeling, how that full moon was for you, if you are still like reaping any benefits from what you learned from it. But what I want to say, hi baby, thank you for joining. What I want to say and talk about today is Venus moving into Cancer, because I think it's exactly what we need after not only like the full moon that we just survived, like not even experienced, like genuinely survived, but also like we're going to be having some crazy astro weather in August, a lot of like fixed signs, a lot of squares, a lot of like just friction that is ultimately pushing us towards growth and fulfillment. But this is such a soft transit that I really want us to be intentional when it comes to working with. So I want to talk about Venus in Cancer. So Venus went into the sign of Cancer yesterday, and it'll be there until August 11th. And obviously, for those of you who don't know, Venus is a planet that rules how we love, how we experience both comfort and safety and nurture, but also how we are in our relationships, how we receive and give love. And so with it being in the sign of Cancer, Cancer is ruled by the moon. It has everything to do with comfort and nurture. So this is like a beautiful placement, not only to have natally in your chart, but also like to experience the transit of, because it really is a call back to you. So like, obviously get into the details of it, but like just overall, what I really want to say, and I think the biggest takeaway of this is, can you commit to making sure that your number one devotion from now until August 11th is your sense of comfort, tending to your needs in the most gentle and soft way possible, right? So that means really making sure that you know, like, what does my heart need right now? What does my body need right now? How much more rest do I need to be giving myself? How can I tend to my needs in a way that's very intentional, which means taking more naps and listening to like comfort songs and hanging out with friends and having very physical affection and intimacy and like watching comfort shows and eating home cooked meals and like being just completely immersed in your sense of comfort and making sure that that is what is at the forefront of all of the decisions and all the plans that you make for this next month is going to be the best way to utilize this transit. But also it's worth noting that Cancer rules the mother, right? It rules the mother, it's ruled by the moon. So I feel like listening to my body has come much more naturally, and this is 100%, which mind you, I think for anyone with a major Taurus placement, like, listening to your physical body is probably much easier for you. But what I will say is that with this Cancer energy coming in, Cancer invites us to not only listen to our physical body, but also like our emotional body, and like really being intentional, aware of like which energies are much more draining than others, and like who are you gravitating towards, who is repelling you, and how can you just like make sure that you honor and like listen to that. So tending to your emotional body, tending to your physical body. Like this is a time to like get the most comfortable blanket that you have and just like wrap yourself in it and stay there for the next month. I have so much written down, but yeah, like tend to your heart's needs. Place at the forefront your need for security and comfort and the ways that you can give it to yourself. But ultimately, I think what's so important is the way that you can get it within relationship, within partnership, not only romantic partnership, but like, I was just reading this like romance novel, Beach Read, for those of you who don't know. My friend and I were talking about how like there was a part in it where she talks about falling in love, and she had felt it before just with her best friend, just like how beautiful the connection with your best friend is. And I've really just been reflecting on how important it is that you also find comfort in your friendships, in your familial relationships, in your romantic relationships. Like if you need to ask for a hug, ask for the hug. If you need to like lay in someone's arms longer than usual, like lay there, but also just like be your own source of comfort as well, which means for me, when I'm experiencing deep intimacy with myself, I will put on the most, like all of my comfort shows. I'll watch That's So Raven in my bed with my snacks in my most comfortable blanket with an incense burning, and like, just as long as I make my physical environment feel like a nest, I am in a state of comfort and I'm experiencing intimacy with myself. So I really would invite you to sort of like put that at the forefront as well. And like going off of that as well, because Cancer rules home, the home that we have within ourselves, but also like our physical and external homes. Now is a beautiful time if you feel like redecorating or making your space more comfortable, just making sure that your home feels safe and inviting and warm, and that you spend as much intentional time there. But yes, what I do want to say is that because Cancer rules the mother, you want to make sure that you're also being your own parent right now in a way that's very intentional, right? I think the Cancer full moon really sort of brought in the voice of our own inner father of like, okay, how are you going to take control of the parts of your life that you can take control? And when it comes to Venus and Cancer, we're now sort of shifting into that voice of what would your mother say in regards to the same situation? Like if there was a father figure that would be like, here's what you need to do, here's a discipline, what would the inner mother say? Which usually is, everything's gonna be okay, sweetie. You know, just wrap yourself up in a blanket, sit on the couch, let's just watch a movie, I'll hold your hand, everything's gonna be okay. So really find a way to be that voice for yourself, but also recognize where if your child was sick and you were their mother, how would you tend to them being your own sort of sick child right now? That sounds crazy. I probably should have thought of the way to word that before saying it. But basically it's just like, yeah, how can you be your own mother? How can you breastfeed yourself right now? And just being honest with yourself in terms of like, what does breastfeeding look like for me? Like for instance, I have just been in such a transitional place in my life right now. And, I'm lucky enough to have my mother close and to be able to like actually get advice and stuff from her. But I think whenever I'm in like my own like take care of myself mode, I find myself very like Capricorn. I have a Capricorn Mercury, so I can get very like, here's what you need to do. You need to figure it out. And like, I think me being my own inner mother right now is like, girl, let yourself be lost. That's what 26 is for. Like, let yourself be in the most chaotic, erratic place in your life and allow the acceptance and the surrender of the chaos to be how it organically sort of unravels into something that makes sense and into your next. So yeah, that's an example. But anyway, tend to your heart, place at the forefront your needs and your sense of comfort. Spend more time sleeping and resting. Really, really, really be intentional about how much rest you're getting right now. You may be sleepier. You also may be moodier. I think one thing about the sign of Cancer, if you have any Cancers in your life, I'm sure you know this, but they're very moody. And so if you find yourself riding a lot of like emotional waves, which I'm sure you've already gotten used to because you've just had so much erratic astro weather that I'm sure you've already been in a state of flux, consistent flux, but recognize the fact that you may be moodier than usual right now. So find a way to ground yourself whenever you do find yourself shifting in between a lot of moods incessantly. But also another thing to be aware of is Cancers at times can be very emotionally manipulative. So you want to make sure that you are very discerning with the people that you are allowing in your auric field right now and how you are responding to them, how much you are taking for granted what they're saying. Because the thing about this right now is that it's so important that we, like I said, prioritize our comfort and really make sure we are feeling safe and secure within community, within our relationship. So this isn't about like being immersed in, you know, a huge group of friends, but rather being intentional with like the 5 friends that you know are yours, that you know are safe, and you know, your sisterhood, your brotherhood, you know, the family that is both blood but also chosen. But what's beautiful about that, and what's also really important about that, is that you really be discerning of who that is and you be intentional with weeding out who that isn't. So just be really, really protective of your energy, of your emotional safety, and who you are allowing in right now, who you are sharing your truth with right now. Now is a beautiful time to open up your heart to be a bit more softer, especially if you are someone who tends to be very protective and very closed off. Now is the time to embrace the fact that like, hi, thank you for joining. Now is the time to embrace the fact that like, as human beings, we need intimacy and we need affection. And if you have been sort of upkeeping any facade that sort of contradicts that, now is the time to soften and say, even though, you know, me being taken care of does not threaten my ability to take care of myself, and me needing to be held, and like needing to cry on someone's shoulder, and like me needing someone to spend the night and someone to watch this movie with and someone to do this thing with does not reflect in any way a form of weakness, but rather me tending to my needs. So figure out what your needs are and then gift yourself that, especially if it means asking for it from someone else, but being intentional about who that someone else is. Now, something that I had written down, which I think is very important, is that because I think Cancer is as deep as the water signs go. I think all of them have their certain areas of depth. I think Scorpios go very deep, Pisces go very deep, but Pisces go deep in a way that's sort of imaginative and dreamlike, and Scorpios go deep into a way that's very shadow and elusive. But I think Cancers go deep in the emotional well. Like there's access, right? Right now we have access to the deepest form of loving and to the deepest well of forgiveness that we've ever had. So if you've been holding on to any resentment for anyone, any situation, even against yourself, now is the time to really, really work with this energy to release, to forgive, to set free any story that you've been telling yourself, any way that you've been holding on to just old narratives that no longer serve you. But I think what's most important is recognizing the fact that if you love somebody, hi, thank you for joining, my angel. If you love someone, tell them. This is chaotic. I would never say this in any other transit. I'd be like, baby, hold on to your sovereignty. But like, even if you have an ex that like has scorned you and you've been trying to get through the breakup by like hating them, right? Like sometimes we survive heartbreak by like turning to anger and rage, and sometimes it's warranted. But sometimes it's also so much easier to be like, whoa, the time that we did spend together was beautiful and it taught me so much, and I hope that you're well. Isn't that crazy? To just set free both you and whoever else is involved by forgiving, by releasing, and by meeting them with love. Right now is a time, I can't stress this enough, with Venus in Cancer, from now until August 11th, meet every area in your life that you possibly can with love. Tend to yourself sweetly and gently and slowly and softly, but also just like in your relationships, be discerning with who you're letting in. But once you let them in, be so radically just affectionate and gentle and open with the fact that like as a human being, as creatures on this planet with like skin and feeling, we need intimacy. We need physical, emotional, spiritual intimacy. So just be open, be honest, be heart-led right now. Be really, really, really intentional with recognizing the fact that like this is what my needs are, whether your needs that day are sleeping and taking a 4-hour nap, or like, you know, buying a new candle that is so expensive but also smells so good, or, you know, like doing watercolor painting in a park, or just like letting someone hold you on your couch for 4 hours while watching a movie. Like just be really, really, really committed and devoted to tending to your needs, being your own mother. Let me see what else I have written down. Forgiving where you need to forgive. Now's the time to like write a love letter, write a text that's like, by the way, there's no more, you know, bad blood, like we're good. Or just like whatever, you know, in your specific circumstance, like the love decision would be, you know, just look at whatever place in your life there's tension and really ask yourself, what decision from the lens of love would be made here? And how can I be brave enough to make it? We're going to be valuing intimacy and partnership more, not just on a romantic level, but also on a familial and platonic level. Where do you need more security? Where do you need more of a sense of security? Where do you need more of a sense of comfort? Where can you soften? Really ask yourself these questions. Don't shame yourself for your needs right now. I am someone who is so like hyperactively independent to the point of detriment. Like I do everything by myself, and I'm in Madrid, which is a city that I know well, but also I don't have as much of like a social group here. And so I've been recognizing the fact that like I need to be making friends. Like I need to be hanging out with people more. So like, even though it's so awkward and uncomfortable for me to like message people and be like, invite me to that thing that you're doing with everyone else. Like it's really, I recognize that I need it. I need a sense of community right now. So really just like be honest with how you need and give it to yourself. Even if it's embarrassing, even if it's uncomfortable, just do it. And that goes in line with like being your own mother right now. If you are blessed enough to have access to speaking to your mother, if you have a healthy relationship, also reach out to your mom right now, or like spend any form of quality time that you can with them right now. I think that's going to be a beautiful source of insight. Watch your comfort shows, eat your comfort meals, wear your comfort clothing, the sweats, the softness, the largeness, bask in your comfort relationships, those friendships where you do not have to perform, just like be so committed to giving yourself comfort right now. Come back to your own needs in a way that's intentional and radical. Refuse to sacrifice your personal values or your personal need for comfort. What else do I have? Oh my God, child, if in any area of your life you feel yourself nearing burnout, whether it's creative burnout, work burnout, social burnout, I've been like burnt out of isolation. Like I've been spending so much time alone that I'm like, I need people. But in any way that you are nearing a form of burnout, before you're burnt out, like don't wait for it to get so bad to the point where your body can't move anymore to then do something about it. If you see yourself nearing it, already make a change. Already commit to tending to that wound before it becomes like surgery, right? So just look at the ways in which you need to soften, where you need more rest, where you need change, and gift yourself that. And then I saw this tweet that I wanted to read out. Venus in Cancer asks you to be comfortable in expressing your love and compassion for others. The nonchalant act is going to have to stop. Everyone needs reassurance, a hug, and a compliment. I honestly saved that tweet for myself because I'm someone who's like, I give myself my own advice. I don't need anyone. And I put on this like cool girl nonchalant act, especially in romantic relationships. But like, we're in our soft girl eras. We're having a sensitive girl summer. Okay. So with that being said, I'm sending you all of my love. In summation, just make sure that you devote this season to yourself, to feeling good, to living a life that feels good, to tending to your physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being. Make sure that everything is soft. Not only your thoughts, not only your linens, not only your clothing, not only your relationships, but also just like, all of those things. Yeah. Like just every area of your life, take the edges off of it. And even soften your hatred. I think I've been so upset, especially like at America. Like I've been so upset at politics and society and how I feel like we're regressing, how I feel like we're killing the planet. The heat wave I'm experiencing right now is beyond what words can describe. And I've just been angry. And I think Venus in Cancer is calling for us to even soften our anger, not to rid ourselves of it, not to bypass it. Our anger is very important because that's where change comes from. That's where action comes from. But ultimately soften in being more compassionate and recognizing we are flawed human beings, and every decision being made from every corner, whether it's the right corner or the wrong corner, is being made through protection of what they love. Even if what they love is different, they're protecting what they define their freedom to be. And I think when you meet these situations with compassion, you can still move forward, but from a smoother and easier state. If that makes sense. Or at the very least, use this as a time to hyper focus on what is going right and what is beautiful. And just beautifying your life, beautifying your physical environment, your physical space. And with that being said, sending you all my love. Happy Venus in Cancer. I'll be back to talk about the fact that we're finally moving in to Leo season. I've never needed a season more. So I'll talk about that. I'll talk about the new moon in Leo that I'll be hosting a little circle for. Sending you all my love. Have the best week ever.